Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our SmartSuite-Library administration training. My name is Quentin and I'm going to be your host in today's training session. Now, what are we going to be covering? We're going to be going through things that you need to do to get started with SmartSuite-Library, the basics of getting started with SmartSuite-Library. So that's going to be things like circulating and cataloging your books, and then how to communicate with our customer service team members. Okay, so today is a live session. My name is Quentin. If you do want to communicate with me throughout the session today, the chat console on the right hand side of your screen is going to be monitored by me. I can see that on my screen here. So if anyone has any questions, please go ahead, type them in there. I'm going to do my very best to answer those throughout the training, and if not, we can always contact you after the session today. For all of you that have data conversions that I've gone through, I'm going to be going through at the end of the session today how to communicate with our customer service team members to ensure that any conversion issues are dealt with in a timely manner. So if you see any data that doesn't look correct, not a stress, we're going to help you out and resolve those for you. Now, one cool little thing about YouTube before we get started is that if you get distracted, you will be able to pause what's going on live and rewatch what you missed while you were dealing with a student or a teacher, and then catch up with us. So make sure that you do go ahead and use those facilities. And again, the chat console's there. If you do get a little bit lost, you can jump in there and we'll be able to help you out. Okay, so let's get started today. I'm just going to share my screen with you. Okay, a couple of things that we need to do to get started with SmartSuite before we start jumping in and having a play with some of the features and functions. Number one is your SCIS account. Now, obviously, SmartSuite-Library has the ability to import records from other databases for you. Most of our customers use SCIS, so we're going to deal with how to set up your SCIS account now. Okay, now, if you are unsure whether your Z3950 settings have been configured on your account, or you know that they're not configured on your account, you need to follow these steps that I'm going to outline for you now. Okay, these steps are not done on the SmartSuite system. They're actually done over in your SCIS account. So the first thing you need to do is to head over to Google. Once you're in Google, you need to type into the search engine SCIS Z3950. Okay, the first article in Google is how do I set up Z3950 in the school's catalog information service. Okay, it's going to go through and tell you a little bit about SCIS, the configuration details, steps to log into your profile, and to verify whether or not you have access to Z3950 under your SCIS account. Okay, so go ahead and perform those steps on the SCIS website. If you cannot see the Z3950 information heading, they tell you that you need to contact them and have that enabled. Okay, so go ahead, click on the contact us. They're going to bring up a form, give them your school name, your SCIS username if you have it on hand, and get them to activate that Z3950 service for you. Now what will happen is they will send you an email back once it's been actioned and say to you that your account has been activated, here are your details, you need to plug them into your library management system, etc, etc. So when you have that email back from them, then you'll be able to come back to SmartSuite and do the next step, which is to plug your SCIS details into SmartSuite. Okay, so number one thing that you need to do is to activate the Z3950 service on your SCIS account. Okay, number two, we need to plug our SCIS details into SmartSuite. Okay, so you would have received a welcome email from us, and the welcome email will contain your SmartSuite URL. Okay, navigate to that URL. It'll be something like your school name, stmaryps.functionalsolutions.com.au, or it might be just the abbreviation jpps@functionalsolutions.com.au. When you navigate to that URL, you'll be met with a screen that'll look something like this. Okay, top right hand corner, there will be a sign in button. In that welcome email, it'll also contain your your username and your password. Okay, so punch those into the system. Okay, punch them in correctly, and the system will log you in. Okay, now that we're logged into the system, we need to head over to where we do our SKIS importing so we can plug our SKIS settings in. So top left hand corner here, this is what we refer to as our system menu. So if you ever see any articles referring to that, or you're talking to our customer service team members and they're asking you to click on the system menu, top left hand corner. Once that menu comes up, click on Catalog, and then click on Global Catalog. Okay, now we're going to come back and learn how to use this screen later on in the training session, but right now we're wanting to plug in our SKIS details. So at the bottom of the screen, we have what we refer to as our toolbar. Okay, in the toolbar, there's a whole array of different functions that we can perform on this page, one of which is our configuration settings. So we want to click on the up arrow next to the configuration button, and that's going to give us our configuration menu. In here, we have Z3950 databases. When we click on that, we can see all the databases that are databases that have been set up in our system. The top one, the primary one, out of the box is going to be SKIS. Okay, so from that email that we received back from them, again, they'll confirm all of these details. We're going to automatically plug in the domain name, database name, port numbers, etc. All that we need you to do is fill in your SKIS username and your SKIS password. Once you've done that, click Update, and you can go ahead and close that pop-up down. Okay, so number one before we get started is activate your SKIS account. SKIS account with Z3950. Number two is to punch in your username and password into global cataloging. The third thing that we want to do is, while we're on this screen, we want to set up the spine labels that we are going to use whenever we're doing importing. Okay, and we do that by coming down to our toolbar again, clicking on that up arrow, and then selecting default spine label. Okay, now whatever is listed in this drop down box is what is currently selected as our spine label within the system. So our format at the moment is the Rayco 12601. Most of the time out of the box that's going to be blank, so you'll need to click the drop down and it's going to give you a list of all the spine labels that have been configured in your system. If you're using a different label, let's say that we're using the Viper 118s, select that and then click Save. Okay, so number one, activate your Z3950 on your SKIS account. Number two, plug in your SKIS details into Global Catalog. And number three, set the spine label that you're going to be using for SmartSuite-Library. Okay, now that we've done that, we can start getting into the meat and beans of the training session today. Before I go ahead, I'm going to give everyone a couple of moments just to have a think of any questions that you might have in regards to SKIS or plugging in your spine label requirements. Okay, again, chat console on the right hand side of the screen. Punch your questions in there and I'll monitor them here. Alright, no questions have come through, so we're going to jump into the training for today. Now, one of the things that we always want to point out is that most of our administration screens, if not all of them, have a toolbar that will appear at the bottom of the screen. Now this toolbar allows you to perform functions for that screen. So in the case of Global Catalog, we've got the ability to select what barcode format we want the system to generate our barcodes when we're importing information from SCIS. We can specify how we want the global cataloging system to search for the books in our SCIS database. So we want it to search by ISBN or by SCIS number, how to deal with duplicates, and then we have our configuration menu and our upload file functions. If I head over to our patron management page, for example, the screen is obviously going to look a little bit different because we're dealing with different functions, but there is still a toolbar at the bottom of the screen. And that toolbar is going to allow us to search for patrons, add new patrons, change passwords, email login information, and delete the active user that's on the screen. So if we're ever trying to locate a function to perform on the screen, first thing that we should do is look down at the bottom and try and find the function in that toolbar. Okay, now whilst we're in the patron management screen, we're going to have a look at how we go about managing users within the system. Now, the functions that I'm going to be talking about today is managing patrons on a one-on-one basis. So we're not going to be dealing with uploading patrons or start of year functions or end of year functions. We're dealing with those scenarios of we need to update the family name of a teacher because they got married over the holidays, or we've got a new user that's or a new student that's walked into the library and they haven't yet been set up on the system. Okay, so if we have that scenario where we're wanting to add a new user, we come to the patron management screen to do that. Now, how do we navigate to that screen? We click on the system menu, we click on patron, and then we select patron management. Okay, once we're in the patron management screen, in the toolbar at the bottom of the screen, we click the new option. And that's going to blank out all those fields for us. Okay, all we need to do now is basically just go through and fill the information in. Okay, now the barcode is what's going to be used at circulation to be able to scan and bring up a user really quickly. It's also going to be used when we do patron imports to make sure that we're not going to be duplicating your patrons. So we match the duplicates via the barcode field. So it is important to make sure that the barcode is going to be relevant for those different scenarios. Now, our recommendation is to use the school's student ID as the barcode for the user. In some scenarios, we refer to that as an EQID. Sometimes it's an E number. Sometimes it's an enrollment number. Okay, now if you don't know what the student's unique ID is at the point in time that they're at the desk, go ahead and give them a dummy barcode. Okay, think up a number, or you can even do something like this. Punch in their first initial and a surname. Okay, when we've saved the user, go through the functions that you need to go through with them, loan them a couple of books, let the class go. Make a note for yourself that you need to look up that that enrollment number and come back and override it in the system. Okay, it is important that you do that. When we do bulk imports later on, you're going to end up with two profiles. One that's got all the students' current books, which is their dummy barcode, and then there's new patron. Okay, and then we're going to have to do a whole bunch of patron merges to tidy up the database for you. Okay, so punch in their barcode. Username is what they use to log into the network with. Again, if you don't know it, you don't have to put it in. Okay, but you do have the ability to put that in if you want to. First name, surname, email address of the user, and this is paramount for forgot my password functions or sending them login information or overdue notices. So make sure that that information is correct. Okay, don't worry about the security, that's automatically built off your admin tables. Class grade, this is the year level that this particular individual has been assigned to, and their homeroom. Okay, last but not least, we have this field called role. Now this is very, very important for our teachers. Okay, by default, every new user is given a user role of student, which means that they can search the collection and reserve books if you've given them privileges to do so. But they don't have any access to the teacher tools like Smart Classrooms or TV for Education if you're subscribing to TV for Ed. Okay, so if you are adding a teacher, you need to do one extra step, which is to remove that student role and then assign a role of teacher. Okay, as I said, if they're just a student, you can keep that on student. Now, before we hit save, we can see quickly down in the toolbar that we have an option called email login, and that's currently ticked. Now, what the system is going to do for you is when I hit save, it's going to automatically generate a temporary password for this user. When that password is generated, it's going to create an email, and it's going to send an email to that user to say, hi, welcome to SmartSuite. Here's the URL for your site, here's your username, and here's a password for you to log into the system with. Okay, if you don't want that email to go out, you need to make sure that you untick that before you hit save. If you're okay for that email to go out, simply go ahead, hit the save button. It's going to produce all those pop-up messages. Okay, in this case, I've already got a Quentin Fernandez in the system, so I'm going to cancel that so that it continues and creates this new user. Password is not set, it's going to generate a new one for you. Happy for it to do that. It's going to save that user's information, and it's going to throw that email out to them. Okay, so it's going to keep it nice and easy for us. If we're wanting to go and add some additional information, we want to add some parent details, click on the relevant tab, put your cursor into the field, type the information in, and then hit save down the bottom of the screen. It's really that easy. Okay. If we need to change the user's name for whatever reason, okay, once again, click on Find down the bottom, locate the user. Okay, and update their surname. Followed by save. Okay, if we're wanting to delete a user for any reason, locate the user by clicking Find, click Delete in the toolbar. Okay, are you sure you want to remove this user? Yes, we are. And it gets rid of that user. Okay, now there are checks and balances in place. If that user does have current loans or overdues against their profile, it is going to produce an error for you, and it's going to not allow you to delete that user. Okay, so you will need to go over to circulation and make those or mark those books as lost first, and then come back and delete the user. Okay, so managing your users is pretty easy. Okay, first thing you need to do is just make sure that you are in the correct screen, which is patron and patron management. Once you do that, navigating through the toolbar and all your users is going to be fairly second nature. Okay, I'm going to pause for a couple of moments just to allow anyone to chuck in their questions into the chat console on the right of the screen. Okay, no questions have come through, so we're going to continue with cataloging. Okay, so to do any cataloging, and I'm talking about original cataloging, so not importing records just yet, we want to know how do we deal with the raw catalog records. Okay, we do that by coming to System Menu, Catalog, followed by the top option in the submenu, which is Catalog Again. Now, it's going to look fairly similar to our patron management screen. Okay, but obviously, instead of it being the records for our users, it's going to be all the records for the items that sit in our library. Okay, down the bottom of the screen, we've got our toolbar again, and we've got the options to create a new record. Okay, so I'm going to click on the up arrow next to new, and it's given us an option of a couple of different functions that we can perform for new. Top one being new title. So I'm going to do an original catalog record for a brand new item in our library. I'm not adding a copy to an existing title. Okay, new title, everything turns blank, and I can now go ahead and start typing the information for my records into the relevant fields. So I'm going to put my cursor into the title field. I'm going to type the name of my book. Okay, if we're doing assets or anything like that, give the title the description. So we're going to be cataloging a iPad Pro or a MacBook Pro, something along those lines. Okay, we have our ISBN field, so we can pick up our scanner and we can scan the ISBN of the book. Okay, and if we wanted to, this little icon here, if we click on that, it's going to take that ISBN and attempt to download the record from an online database. Okay, whatever's been set up in your global cataloging screen that we saw earlier. My database is connected to SCIS, so the system wasn't able to identify that ISBN on the SCIS database, and it's given me that result. Okay, if it was able to find that information, it's going to insert all of the relevant fields into the relevant field, all of the relevant information into the correct fields, and all I need to do from there is hit save. Okay, if that was unsuccessful, go through the fields, typing in the information that you want to display, then come down to your media and tell the system what media type it is. Okay, the three fields of information that are highlighted on the screen at the moment are the minimum pieces of information that the system needs in order to save a cataloging record. So we need title, we need ISBN, and we need the media type. If we wanted to go ahead and add additional information, up the top we click on the relevant tab, in this case subject, put our cursor in the field and start typing. As we type, it's going to predict what we're trying to select. So we go ahead and select our subjects that we want to add to this title, and if we wanted to add a brand new one, we type it as we want to save it into the database. Okay, so we've got no results. We want to go ahead and add that. Click on the plus symbol, and it's going to give us a warning, are you sure? Okay, now be very careful at this point and verify that the capitalization, the punctuation, the spelling is correct. Once we hit save, it's going to insert that into the database. So if you haven't put your capitalization in, all of the records that are tied to the same subject area in the future are going to have that incorrect capitalization. Okay, of course we can go ahead and fix that after the fact, but it's going to be easier for us to do it straight up. If we're okay with that, we click OK, saves that to the database and inserts that into the record for us. We can move through all the other tabs on the screen, completing the information as we did with subjects just then, and once we've finished with that, down in the toolbar is our save button. Okay, it's going to take all that information, insert that into the database, and we now have a brand new title record in the system. Once we've done that, we then need to go ahead and add a copy to our title. So this is where we're going to store all the information for the physical record, which is going to store things like the barcode, the location of where it's stored, and maybe some cost information if you want to put that in as well. Okay, so the way that we do that is we have our record on the screen. If we've navigated away from the screen, click Find and locate the new title that we've added. Click on the Copy tab. Okay, and we've got all of our copy information here. Now, whenever we're adding a new copy into the system is going to highlight that line in light blue. So that's telling us this is going to be a brand new book if you hit save. Okay, so if I go ahead and put my cursor into barcode, again, pick up my wand, scan the barcode number into that field. Copy number is automatically generated for us, so we don't need to worry about that. Copy status, we're going to make that available. Location is going to be our main library. It's in the sublocation fiction, loan type fortnightly, renew type fortnightly. Okay, but we want to add some more information. We want to add the cost of the book, and we maybe want to add a little note to say that it was donated by or sponsored by a particular family at the school. Click on the plus symbol on the left hand side. That's going to expand that out for us, and we now have access to these additional copy fields. Punch in our cost, replacement cost if we have it, and there's our copy comments. Once we're happy with that information on the screen, we can go ahead and click save, and that's going to insert that copy into the database for us. Okay, so once again, the light blue is where we go to add a new copy. Okay, anything that is an alternating grey and white, that is the copies that have been saved into the database already. Okay, if we've got a title record and it's already got some copies assigned to it and we want to add a brand new copy to that record, instead of clicking new and coming here and typing in the password and resetting all the information that we would have selected from our first copy, what we can do is we can expand the copy that we want to duplicate the information for. Left hand side, we click that expand arrow, and underneath that copy we have a duplicate button. So if I go ahead and click on that, it's going to grab all the information from copy number 1 and throw that into copy number 2, and we can see that here we've got copy number 2. All the information is the same as copy number 1. Okay, in this case it actually cost us $44, so we're going to make the replacement cost $50. The barcode is a dummy barcode, so we need to put our cursor in there and scan our new barcode for copy number 2 and then hit save. Okay, we now successfully have saved 2 copies into the system. Okay, and you can see that grey and white alternating color scheme for all of our various copies, and then that light blue if we wanted to go ahead and add another copy to the system. Okay, so it's nice and easy. We just have to remember all those tools are either in the toolbar at the bottom of the screen, or when we expand the copy, we have additional tools that we have available to us in the copy section. Okay, so we've gone through adding titles and copies to the system. We're now going to have a quick chat about how do we remove those books from the system. Okay, now this is very, very important to make sure that we don't remove the wrong copy versus title from our system. Okay, we have had users accidentally delete 180 to 250 textbooks at a time because they used the delete title function instead of the delete copy function. Okay, so like you've seen in the demonstration so far, in the training so far, the title information holds all of the information on your book, including the copies. Okay, in the toolbar at the bottom of the screen, we have specified this button is going to delete the title, which means it's going to get rid of the title that we see on the screen here and all the associated copies. So if you're purging this resource from your library because it's now out of date or no longer relevant for your school, delete title is going to be the correct option for you. Okay, now to verify that, when you click delete, it's going to say, are you sure that you are wanting to delete this title and 2 copies? Okay, if I go ahead and click confirm, nothing's happening. Okay, because it is a detrimental function, we do require you to do an extra step, which is to type the word yes into the box and then click confirm. That's going to remove the full title and all those associated copies. If we're only wanting to delete one individual copy because let's say copy number 1 was loaned out to a student and it came back damaged, it's going to cost us more to repair it than it is to buy a brand new copy. What you need to do, click on the copy tab at the top of the screen, expand the copy that you're wanting to delete, in this scenario copy number 1, and click the delete button that's associated with that individual barcode. Okay, system will verify for you this is the barcode that you are about to delete. If you're okay with that, click OK. Okay, it's only going to remove that one copy. We still have our title and our copies intact in the system. Okay, so just be very mindful when we're dealing with deleting resources that we know whether we want to delete an individual copy, in which case we expand the copy and choose the delete from there, or we're wanting to purge the entire title and all trace of it from our library, in which case we can go delete. Are you sure? Yes. And it's going to remove that from the system for us. Okay. One last thing I wanted to show everyone in the copy screen is on loan information. Okay, so we've dealt with adding a new title, modifying a title, and removing a title from the system. Okay, what if we're in the cataloging screen and we can see that we have a number of resources here and we can see that one of them is currently on loan? How do we find out who has that book, because all of the items should be available in the library because it's end of year, for example? All we need to do is expand that particular copy, and down the bottom of the system we can see that it's giving us some information on who it's currently on loan to. Okay, now where it says on loan to, it's currently displaying lib. Now that is the first name and surname of my training user. So in your case, it'll read something like Quentin Fernandez or Mary Smith. Okay, the next piece of information is going to be the year level or the class grade they have been assigned to. So it'll be staff or year 7 or year 12. And then the homeroom. Okay, if the book is on loan within the due date, the remainder of the information is going to be in blue. If it's overdue, we're going to highlight it in red. And we're going to tell you when it's meant to be due and either how many days until it's due or how many days it's overdue. If you're wanting to flick a reminder off to the user, all you need to do is click on that envelope. System's going to grab that user's information, grab the copy information that is currently overdue or on loan to that user, and it's going to send them off an email and say, this resource is meant to be due in 3 days, or it's currently overdue 461 days. Okay, so it's a nice, easy way to manage that. Before we move on to SCIS importing, I'm going to give everyone a couple of moments just to have a quick think, and if there's any questions that you'd like me to answer in today's session about cataloging or managing your patrons, punch them into the chat console on the side of the screen and I'll monitor those now. Excellent. No questions from anyone today? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about importing from SCIS. Now the way that we do that is by going to System Menu, Catalog, and Global Catalog. And all of our SCIS importing is done through this screen. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the reason why we call this Global Catalog is because you do have the ability to plug in details from multiple databases. So you might configure SCIS, Open Libraries Australia, Library of Congress, and your local council library if they have a Z3950 connection. Okay, when we do the import, the system is going to collate the information from all of those systems and insert it as one record into SmartSuite for you. Okay, to start off with, we recommend using one. Most of the time that's going to be your SCIS database. Now the way that we control this screen is we work from left to right. Okay, so this section on the left hand side of the screen, this is what's going to set all of the copy information for the books that you are about to scan. Okay, so instead of having to scan all the information and then go to catalog and set that this book is going to be in this location and this sublocation and have this loan period, etc., etc., we do that before we scan the book. So we tell the system, everything that I'm about to scan is going to go into the main library. It's going to go into the Easy Readers collection. The loan period is going to be 1 week. Renew period will be 2 weeks. Copy status is going to be available. And the supplier for these books was AGPS. Okay, the cost information, because they're all variable, we're going to leave that 0. Now there's nothing else you have to do in order to save that information. So what you set on the screen is what is going to be applied to those books. Okay, so my recommendation for this particular part of the workflow is if you've got a variety of books, let's say you've got 25 books to catalog, create a couple of piles depending on what information you are going to set on the left hand side here. So if you've got from that 25, 10 that are going to go to your Easy Readers collection, put that in one pile. The remainder of those items, they're going to fiction with a 2-week period, put them in a separate pile. And that's going to allow you to just bang through those 10, then come and change the information, and then bang through the remaining 15. Okay, so separate your piles, set your copy defaults on the left-hand side, then put your cursor into the ISBN field, pick up your first book, and scan the ISBN with your barcode scanner. System's automatically going to put the cursor into the barcode field. So with your scanner, you then scan the barcode that is going to be assigned for that book. Okay, grab your next book, scan the ISBN and then your barcode, and continue that until you've gone through those 10 books. Okay, now I'm going to quickly just head over to my catalog just to grab a proper ISBN, just so you can see what it looks like when a import is successful. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so I'm going to scan the ISBN in my book and I'm going to give it a barcode. Okay, once I've gone through and I've scanned all that information in, I need to go through and just verify what's been happening on the screen. So if I have any red highlighted sections, this is telling me that the system was not able to import the book correctly. Okay, and I need to view the error to find out what's going on. So in this case, it's telling me that it could not find that ISBN on that SCIS database. Okay, other errors that you may encounter is that the barcode that you scanned has already been used by another book in your library. Okay, so you'll need to jump into the catalog record, it'll have a dummy barcode there, and you'll need to clear that up. If it's orange, it's telling you that it's still working. So it's still trying to download that information from SCIS or any of those third-party databases. And if it's green, it's telling you that it has imported the record successfully. It's set up a copy with the barcode that you've scanned, and it has also assigned all that copy information from the left of the screen to that copy that's new to the database. If we're wanting to verify that work, click on the title of the book. That's going to take you to a new tab which will load that particular catalog record. Once it loads that catalog record, it's It's going to jump over to the copy tab for us automatically, and then it's going to highlight the copy that it has imported into the system. Okay, so if you've got a big long list of 180, it's going to go straight to that copy so you can verify that information. Feel free to go through and have a look at the subjects, the illustrator, the series that it's imported. If you wanted to make some changes, go ahead, add some new subjects, make some changes to the subjects, hit save. And once you're finished working with that title, simply close that tab down. And that will automatically take you back to your global cataloging screen. Okay, once we've finished with that first pile, as I mentioned earlier, left-hand side of the screen, change the information for the next pile of books that we created. Okay, and continue with that process. ISBN, barcode, ISBN, barcode. Whatever is on the left-hand side of the screen is now what's going to be imported as the copy information. Okay, nice and simple. Once we've done all our importing, we obviously then need to print our spine labels. Okay, now we obviously went ahead and set the spine label report at the beginning of our getting started session. So all we now need to do is come down to the toolbar and click print. This is going to load in a new tab our spine label report that we have selected as our default spine label report. It's going to load in all the barcodes that we have imported successfully from SKIS. And it's going to preview those on the screen for us. Okay. Down the bottom of the screen, we have a field in the toolbar, which is called blank. And what this is allowing us to do is to tell the system if we have used any of the labels on our sheet already. So if we've already done a print of 5 labels, tell the system that we have already used 5 and then click generate. And what that's going to do is it's going to move all of those spine labels across. So instead of printing on the blank spaces, it's going to print on the first available label for us. From there, click on the up arrow next to print export and click export PDF. That's going to download that report to our computer for us. The next step is very important. Make sure that when you open this file, it's not opening in your internet browser. Now the reason behind that is when you click print, if it's coming from your internet browser like Chrome or Internet Explorer, those browsers will add their own formatting on top of the spine label report, and that's going to cause issues with borders pushing the spine labels across the different labels. So what you need to do is go and open that file using something like a Adobe PDF reader. Okay, I'm just browsing my computer quickly. Okay, and I'll just share my screen for you. Give me one moment. Okay, so I've opened that up in my local PDF viewer. Okay, once you have that open in something like Acrobat Reader, you can then go print. Okay, so very important not to print the spine labels from the browser because of that additional formatting that it's going to put into the system for you. Okay. So we've gone and covered importing from Scarce and printing our spine labels. The last thing that we're going to have a look at is how do we go about circulating books in the system. This is done by System Menu, Circulation, and then clicking Circulation again. The most important thing that you need to remember about this screen is to ensure that you are on the correct circulation mode. So we've got the loan mode and we've got the return mode. This is controlled by the tabs at the top of the screen, and the window is also color coordinated. So blue equals loan, orange equals return. So make sure that you're on the correct mode before you begin. To loan books to a user, we're on the loan tab. Type in the first name or the surname of the user that you would like to borrow a book to, or scan their barcode. If we type in a couple of letters, it's going to bring up all the users that match. Okay, if we had a QUE in the surname, it's also going to bring up those users as well. And all we need to do from here is select the user that we'd like to borrow resources to. If there are any errors with this user, it's going to produce those for us. So we've got an overdue book for this user, and they have a couple of reservations that are available in their name. If we want to, we can override that. Okay, if we're wanting to borrow books to them, cursor's flashing in the field. All we need to do is scan the barcode of the books. Okay, any issues again with that circulation, it's going to produce that message. We've currently exceeded the borrowing limit for this user. We're going to go OK and bypass that. Okay, now you can see that the inconvenient truth has been expanded, and we can see the cover, and we can see a whole bunch of other information for that particular book. That is telling us an inconvenient truth is the last book that we circulated. Okay, so if we're circulating some books for a teacher and we're going scan, 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 and we get distracted by something and we need to come back to the screen and go, sorry, which book am I up to? The book that is expanded is the last book that we circulated. Okay, so if I go and scan another book, system's going to automatically collapse an inconvenient truth. It's going to borrow scope trees and it's going to expand that for us. Okay, so it's a nice easy way to identify which books were the last book circulated. Okay, white and blue is telling us that they are on loan to the user and within the due dates. Red is telling us that this book is on loan and overdue. And I believe orange is telling us that this book is currently on loan, but it's meant to be due back today. Okay. To return any of those resources to the library, go to the Return tab. You don't need to worry about looking up patrons' information. All you need to do is start scanning the books. Okay, if there are any errors with that book, they're going to be produced for us so we can verify them before we put them back on the shelves. Okay, and just like on the loan mode, last book that has been scanned is going to be the expanded copy on the screen, not the collapsed ones. Okay. So borrowing and returning is very, very easy. There are also other modules like self-circulation, which has the ability to allow your users to borrow books, but there's a whole bunch of checks and balances in that that will ensure that they cannot override messages themselves. They'll need to call you as an admin over to verify the message that's on the screen and then decide whether or not they can take an additional 2 books if they already have 2 that are overdue. Okay, we're going to cover those in advanced training sessions through our training portals, which are YouTube Live. If you're wanting to join those, I'm going to show you now how you can get a hold of all of our training sessions. Okay, so because we've had no questions in today's session, I'm going to continue with the last part of the session today, which is how do I get in touch with a customer service team here at FSI. The easiest way to do it is top left hand side, we go System Menu and we scroll down until we see Support. Now all of our support content, all of the innovations that we're doing these are all going to be listed here for you. Okay, if I wanted to go ahead and contact support, I can do that by clicking on that option, and it's going to take us over to our mailbox. Now this is where we can go to post emails or tickets to the customer service team with inquiries. Okay, so at the top we've got create a ticket. Give it a subject that's going to allow you to recall what the ticket was about. Okay, how do I extend borrowing limits? Okay, and then type your message in the box there for our customer service team members. This box here, this is our CC box. Okay, these are options that are available. So if they are not highlighted, it means they're not going to be CC'd on the ticket. If they are highlighted, it means that they are going to be CC'd. Okay, so just remember, it's just an options box. We can upload a screenshot or a video of the issue, and then we can send that off to the customer service team members. If you do have any data conversion related issues, make sure that in the subject, okay, you start it with data conversion. That'll just make sure that it gets prioritized and sent off to our reconversions team. Okay, what will happen otherwise, it will go through the queue and our customer service team members will pick it up in the correct order. When we reply, you will get an email to your school email address or whatever's registered in your patron management profile. When you click on the link to view the reply, it's going to bring you back to the mailbox. Okay, from here, you can go ahead and respond. So we've asked you any questions. You can type a reply in here. Okay, if you are happy with the response and it has resolved your inquiry, on the ticket on the left hand side, instead of it saying reopen, it's going to say closed. Please make sure that you do go ahead and click closed so that we can mark that query as completed. Okay, for all of our brand new users that are new to SmartSuite-Library, we also have another initiative which is going to be available to you for a period of up to 8 weeks. Now this initiative is called the Concierge Service, and it's a priority line to help you get your answers quickly for all of the how-tos. Okay, if we have an article available, they're going to flick you the relevant article. If you've got any errors, they're going to try and deal with those ASAP. And if not, if they aren't able to deal with them straight away, they're going to flick it off to the customer service team with a priority on it. Okay, now how do I access Concierge? Bottom right hand side of every screen is that little chat icon. All you need to do is click on that and type a message. Okay, now this isn't a AI chatbot. This is actually going directly to our customer service team members. Okay, so don't be alarmed that you have to treat it like your traditional Telstra chat box where you type in Google search terms. You're actually dealing with people on the other end. Okay, so when you punch those in, our concierge technicians, they're going to receive that and they're going to answer those accordingly. Okay, once you've finished with your inquiry, click on that close and it's going to close that chat box for you. Okay, again, that's available to our brand new users. It's going to be available to you for a period of up to 8 weeks. Okay, and then once that 8-week period has seen you through those first initial queries, you'll be able to then come back to your mailbox and submit your queries through there. There is also a contact number 0390791000, and it's going to be the first option that'll get you through to our customer service team members as well. Under the system menu support option, you also have the ability to search our help articles. So if I go ahead and click on that, opens a new tab. and all of our articles for all of our systems can be found in here. So if I do a search for marking books as lost, all the relevant articles are going to come up there. Okay, so I can see here that I can mark books as lost via the circulation system. Okay, and it gives us all the options there, all the instructions there. In the system menu, we also have training videos. Now this is going to take you back to our FSI YouTube channel. All of our training material that we create, so the 30-second how-to clips, how do I mark a book as lost, how do I add a new user, they're going to be frequently uploaded to our channel, especially when we're releasing new updates and new features. Okay, on the channel, we also have listed all the upcoming live sessions like today. So if you're wanting to get notification when those videos go up, or you're wanting to see when those live sessions are happening, make sure you not only subscribe to the channel, but you hit the bell, and that's going to give you notification of all of those events that we are planning in the future. Under support, you've also got the FSI User Community. If you are a Facebook user, please ask to join the Facebook group. Now what this is going to do is it's going to connect you with other users from all over the globe that are using either SmartSuite-Library or TV for Education. It's going to allow you to ask not only SmartSuite related questions, but also library and teacher related questions. We are also promoting a number of exclusive events that are only happening to the FSI user group. Okay, we held one of those events last week called the Sharing Ideas event. Now this wasn't published to any of our other platforms, it was only published to the FSI community, and it was a space where one of our proactive users was able to talk about how they engaged their school community with SmartSuite-Library, and it opened up a discussion for all of the users on that event. Okay, last year we also, as part of the FSI user group, gave away a number of different promotions. There were iPads that were given away, there were vouchers that were given away, there were even movie tickets that were given away. So make sure that after you have set up all of your SCIS details and your spine label reports, that you jump on and you start trying, you register to be a member of the FSI user community. Now the last thing I'm going to go through quickly is that quick start guide. Okay, this is a printable version of all the instructions that we believe a user will use in the first 6 months of having SmartSuite-Library. Okay, all of the functions are nice and quick and simple. If I go back over to our index just to show you what's available. Okay, everything from cataloging and circulating over to reporting, smart classrooms, user management, setting up your loan limits, and using the mailbox system. Okay, so as I said, it's everything that our customer service team members have said users use within the first 6 months of owning SmartSuite-Library. Okay, you can print that out if you're someone that likes a hard copy, or you can bookmark that to your browser so that when you need to find out how to use external links, you can view all that information online. Okay, now that is our SmartSuite-Library admin user training for today, the 9th of March. Thank you so much for attending. As I said, we've got some upcoming events that are happening on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you check those out. We also have events targeted directly at teachers. So if you're wanting your teachers to be able to get the most out of your SmartSuite-Library or TV for Education subscription, make sure that you share the link to those events and have them join in as well. My name is Quentin. It's been a pleasure hosting you all today, and we'll see you next time on one of our upcoming YouTube live events.